Hello everyone. In last video we were just done with adding a new to-do to our list, and in this video let's try to edit it. For that we have already set up our buttons. If you go here, for now this button is going nowhere, so let's set that up so that it will take us to the edit field. Let's go to our view. Our edit button is now linking nowhere, so let's create a route. And we need to pass another parameter here because we need to tell our system which to do we want to edit, and for that we will pass an ID here. Okay, so this will be to do ID. Okay, so now let's actually create this route. To do that, go to your web.php inside your route folder, and let's create it. The route will be put or update route, and the actual URL it will go to is to do slash the ID of that to do and edit, and then it will go to do's controller at edit method, and I will give this route name of let me see what I have given the name here. Okay, to do dot edit. I will give this name to do dot edit. Oh sorry, this should be a get request, not put. We will use put later. Okay, so now the next thing we want to do is go to our controller and set up that method, and this method will get an ID of the to do which we want to edit, and this ID will come from URL. Now first thing we have to do is find that to do, and to do that let's use this. We will use to do class, which we have already called here. We have called to do, and we will just find that to do and pass in ID. Okay, so what we are doing right here is trying to find a to do with ID of given parameter. So what actually happening here is let's go to our PHP MyAdmin. In our to do's table you can see that you have a column called ID, and what this is doing is Laravel behind the scene is finding us that to do with given ID. It might be 1 2 3 4 or whatever it is. Okay, so this is doing that. Now we need to return a view where we can edit our to do. We will return view, and since we need to populate our data, we will send whatever data that is held by this variable and pass it into our view. So it is will pass to do, and I remember that the variable will be known by this name, and it will hold data from this variable or this one. I think this would do it. And now let's create our edit view. To do that, let's go to our view folder. Since we are not creating any subfolders, let's just create a new file here, and it will be edit.blade.php. For now we can just copy our code in our home controller, and let's just paste it here and we will see what we can do. I don't think we will need this because we will redirect this page to our actual home page once we have edited our to do. So let's get rid of this. This should say edit to do, and we will need a form. That's okay, and it will go to do dot update, and we need to create this route, of course, and this will take another parameter, the parameters which will tell which ID to actually update. And remember that this variable is available here because we are passing that from our controller. Okay, without that you will not get any values, so that to do is coming from here. Okay, and method is post, that okay, that's okay. Now the next thing is CSRF field, we need that is also fine. And to update we need another Laravel function. Let me explain what we are trying to do. In actuality there are only two methods. It's either get or post, but to kind of spoof and create some more readable method, Laravel has done some tricks, and it will look for this hidden variable called method field, and to update our record it will look for the put or patch field. So we will open up method field, and it is a put request. So what this is doing is that behind the scene this field is telling Laravel that it is an update method, and make sure that you update the record and not actually create it. Okay, there is other way to do it. You don't really have to do it like this, but we are following a RESTful convention here, so let's get into habit of doing this instead of actually using get and post request only. This one is checking for validation. I think we want to check that as well. It's okay, but instead of placeholder, since we are trying to update our data, let's just add value so that our record is already populated in that field. It is this field name. Okay, and I think this should do it. We are checking for errors, and if there are any error we are displaying it. Now we have a button of submit, and instead of create to do, let's change it to edit to do. Now let's come down. I really don't want to display this our to-dos here, so I think I will get rid of all this. Okay, I think it's done. Let's see if we have any errors. Let's refresh this. Okay, now let's go to edit. Okay guys, I found my error. Remember that in last videos, maybe 2 or 3 videos ago, I actually misspelled my controller name, and I had to edit that name from here and the actual file name on this one. So once I change that, composer was actually loading that old class, and I think it had some conflict once I changed those names. So to resolve that, what I did was composer dump autoload, and let's pass in -o flag to optimize. I don't think you have to do this, but if you actually changed your controller name, your controller file name, then you might have to do that. Okay, this is another small debugging technique that you should know. Okay, I think this will do it. Let's go to edit, and we get another error, but I think this is expected, since in the form, where is it? Okay, we have declared that there is a route called todo.update, and it's complaining that it is not found. So let's create it. Let's go to route and let's create it, and this will be put route. Remember guys, this is Laravel way of faking the request. It's actually either get or post request, but Laravel kind of implements a RESTful convention and has put or patch, and there is another type of request called delete, which we will obviously use, but for now it's put request. Okay, now this will go to do, and the ID of the actual to do which we want to edit, and this will go to do's controller. Okay, let's try it. Okay, now there still seems to be one small problem, that the actual to do data should be here. I have already declared the value attribute here, and I have declared another value attribute here. I don't need that. Let's just delete it, and in this old format let's just put this value here. Okay, now let's see. Okay, very nice. Okay guys, let me explain this. Now this old function available in Laravel, let's say helper, this old helper available in Laravel, what it does is it takes two parameters. The first one is that if there is any validation error, okay, let's say this field was actually an email or something like that, and if there was validation error, if there is any validation error and if it is set, then it will display that. Okay, so even if user is trying to edit, and let's say he edited this, okay, he edited this, but if there is an error in validation, then Laravel will come back to this space with that actual data, and if there is no validation error, then it will just populate it with data coming from controller. Okay, I hope you are getting my point. Now I think our edit form is actually working. Now let's go to our controller and create our update method. This update method will take two parameters: the data that user has put into that field and wants to update, and then ID of to do that we are trying to edit. Now let's validate that, and I will just copy validation of creation because it's more or less the same. We will validate this, the request coming in, and the request name will be to do, and it will be required and minimum 5 characters, and if this validation fails, then we will get error on edit method. Okay, so since we are trying to edit it. Let's submit only one and see what happens. Okay, now you can see that validation is working. It is checking to see that it is at least 5 character, and if it's not 5, it is holding the actual value. Okay, let's go, let's check it. Okay, very good. I think this is working. Now let's move on to actually updating it. To do that, let's find it. Okay, now what you can do is, it will almost be the same as let's say storing or creating a new record. We really don't want to add or change the user, so we are not updating that, because only the user who is actually authenticated will see this and will be able to edit it. So we really don't wanna use that, but we wanna update this field and then save it. Okay, so we want this to field. Now let's just paste it. We'll assign the value of to do field to whatever the user has typed, and we will just save it, and then we will return oh sorry guys, it should be return redirect to route home with this message. Okay, let's try it again. Update it. Okay, it's done. See, we have our message, we have edited our to do. Let's try to edit second one. Okay, great. I think it's working now. Very good. Now if you go to phpMyAdmin, behind the scene what Laravel is doing is that it's actually updating the date. Okay, so if you noticed, we have edited 2 datas, and it was created on February 18 and it's March 1. Okay, so in update query, Laravel behind the scene is updating this date. Okay guys, I think this is it for today. We have edited our to do, and we will try to delete our record in next video. Okay guys, I think that's it. I will see you in the next video, and next video will most probably be last in this app development series. Bye bye.